I'm going to give you a casual, straight to the point advice on how to write papers, whether for journal or conferences. First of all, to write a journal or conference papers, you have to have research, and good quality research. This is the first condition to be able to write a conference paper or journal paper. Of course, writing conference paper is much flexible and easier, because at the level when you would like to publish your research for conferences, your research sometimes is not complete yet, or you don't have result yet. But for journal, and I'm talking, when I say journal, I mean good journals, ISI journal. When we talk about no ISI journal, I'm not going to talk about this, because no ISI journal, they can accept any kind of writing, whether it has good content or not. We are not talking about this. There's a lot of things going on. We are talking about professional ISI journal. As well, when we talk about conferences as well, we're talking about good conference. Sometimes, I know, some conferences, they are much harder to publish at than journals, okay? So we are talking, guys, professionally, a good conference and good journal. So we have to have research, okay? So it's much better always when you conduct a research, let's say master or PhD or other than that, to start with conference. Why? Because conference, you go and present your work with like an atmosphere that other people, they're working closely to the same topic, so you can have a lot of feedback, and you can benefit a lot before you reach the point to write journal papers. So conference first, and then journal. And conference, as you know, it's just usually it's a small number of papers, like 4 pages or 5 pages. So the style of writing a conference paper is a bit different than writing a journal paper. Okay, so let's talk about writing the paper itself, whether for conference or journal. Let's say we have a conference, and they said 4 or 5 pages, okay? So now we have to have a strategy to write this paper. Okay, so of course at the beginning we have a format for the paper, so we have to follow the format of the conference. And then when we start writing, after we have, of course, research and result, we don't start writing the abstract, or we don't start writing, of course, the introduction. We start the body content of the paper immediately, okay? So we're going to delay the introduction, we're going to delay the abstract, we're going to delay the conclusion, we're going to delay the title of the paper, okay? We don't start with the title or the abstract. So we start in the body. In the body of the paper, it depends on the research. So if we're talking about IS or technical paper, we start, let's say, having some in this body content or paper, we have to have, let's say, a proposed model, let's say, and then we start writing all the section until we reach, after we finish our contribution in the paper, and that will be in the body. After we finish this, we have to have section like about result, if we have a result, and then we have a discussion, okay? So body, result, discussion, okay? Introduction, we come back to the introduction. Because sometimes you write introduction and in the body you change something, you have to change the introduction. This is the reason we delay the introduction. We write the introduction, but of course not after the discussion, before just after the abstract, as you know. Okay, in the introduction itself, if it is conference paper, we have to put the literature review as well. because the conference paper is small, you can't have a big section for literature review, but so it's good to merge the literature review and the introduction under introduction. You finish the introduction, and then you can come back to the conclusion, abstract, and then title. Okay? A quick tips about writing. Title, no acronym, of course, no reference. Abstract, usually it's small. You introduce quickly what you're talking about, and then what your contribution in the paper. No reference in the abstract at all. Why we don't put reference in the abstract? Because when someone would like to read the abstract, they don't need to go and look for reference to understand. So it must be very high level, and as it's called, abstract means very high level. So acronym could be in the one acronym in the abstract, but maybe it's not recommended. And then in the introduction, if we're talking about conference, so you start introducing, expanding what you talked about in the abstract, and then start referencing, citing some previous work quickly, because as I said, literature review should be inside the introduction in general if it is conference paper. And then I heard Dr. Ahmed was talking, someone asked him about we and I, and he told you don't use I and we, but he didn't give you what you should use instead. Of course, no I, no we. This style is very bad English. You have to know, in order to write a paper in English, you have to be good in English. Every one of you must invest in yourself to be good in English. Learn. Every day you should improve. If you have a review comment, or you have your professor or supervisor correct you something, learn from this and improve. Don't say I am weak in English, and after 2 years you tell me you're weak in English. You should improve every day. Okay, so you have to be good in English. So we and I not allowed, but you have to use the passive style. Passive style, it's called. What is passive style? Instead of saying passive style, for example, instead of saying we are going, or we will introduce, or we will propose a new system, we will say a new system will be proposed. This is how to write. We don't say I. This is single author. It's a terrible thing. It exists only here in Saudi Arabia. Single author considered nothing. Internationally, single author, it's not good. But we have here this system. I don't know why, but anyway, so instead of saying we will propose a new system, we will say, the right thing to say is, a new system will be proposed in this paper, for example. Okay? So in this paper, a new system will be proposed. So this we call a passive style. So like بالعربي للمجهول يعني بده system ينعرض أو ما بعرف شو. المهم, we will say a new system will be proposed. So guys, very good advice. Never, ever copy and paste even one single sentence. That will be terrible for you and your supervisor. That's very terrible thing. Never, ever. Even you put a citation, it doesn't matter. Maybe in a paper you can put some definition very short with a bracket. This is okay, but very short. And you have to cite it, of course. But when you would like to talk about other people's work, you read it, you understand it, and then you rewrite it using your own style, and you cite it. You put reference. This is how we work. Never, ever, any copy and paste. That's considered plagiarism, and that can lead to blacklist. If they discover a good journal that you are doing like this, they put your name on a blacklist. هذا مثل بالعربي الشرف، شرف الإنسان. إذا واحد شرف وراح انتهى أمره. In the research, this is the honor of research. If they discover you are doing a plagiarism, and your name is gone in research and academia. So be careful, all right? Now, I would like just to move quickly to journal paper. A journal paper, it's a little bit, you have a more free space. But I will give you another advice also about a journal paper. Don't make it too big. Too big. Even the best journal in the world, they don't like very long and detailed paper, like 36, 40 papers. It's a bit big. It's not acceptable. They don't tell you, we don't want this, but they don't like it. And it will be delayed in the reviewing. You know, in the reviewing, good journal can take 1 year or 1.5 years. I mean, like, it's terrible things. But if you journal paper, or we call it, be careful, the paper, before it's published, we don't call it paper, by the way. We call it manuscript. So when you send to the journal, telling them, for example, asking about your paper, don't say paper before it's published. We don't call it paper until it is published. We call it manuscript. Okay? This is important as well. All right, so in a journal, make it between 10 and 15 pages. I know the style can change, but I mean, this is average. I always ask my students when they work with me, when we write journal paper, don't make it bigger. The other day we have about 40 pages, someone like details so much, but that's caused us a problem, and we have to make it shorter and clearer. So this is another advice. So let's say you have between 10 and 15 pages. This is average. So the same as I said, how to start from the body, the result, discussion, abstract, conclusion, and title. This is how we start the schedule of the paper. But in a journal paper or manuscript, we have more space, so we will have introduction. Avoid as much as possible to cite or put references in the introduction. You can have a few, it's okay, but after the introduction we will have another section called literature review. Or some people, they call it related work. Related work. So literature review or related work. In this literature review or related work, you put the context, what you are doing, what you would like to propose, what is your contribution, what you're adding to the science. Okay? So, in order to propose something, you have to introduce something, like you have to have a context. You have to talk about people, what they did in the literature close to this research topic. So you have to mention people historically, from the oldest to the newest, and then you have to link them together. It's not just a site like this did this and this. So you have to have a style like you're telling a story to your kids, for example, or the young people. So you have to tell them a story, and it has to be linked. It has to have a logic. So did this, but didn't do that. Another person come here and publish this, until you finish the literature review. When you finish the literature review, there is a section very important. This section called a problem statement or research question. Problem statement or research question. This section, it should be in, I'm telling you, about 10 to 15 pages manuscript. So because in the thesis, it's different, okay? So the sizes will be different. But in 10 to 15 pages manuscript, after the literature review in 10 to 15 pages manuscript, the literature review should be between 1 and 1.5 pages. Don't make it 3 pages, just 1 page. Literature review, the introduction could be 1 page or less. So maximum 1 page for the introduction. Literature review, 1.5 page maximum. Okay? And then you will have a section called problem statement or research question. This problem statement or research question, this is your chance to tell the readers what is your contribution. This section, actually, you can remove it from the paper and put it at the end of the literature review if you want, at the last paragraph in the literature review, or make it another separate section called problem statement or research question. This problem statement or research question should be between 5 to 10 lines. 5 minimum, maximum 10. I'm giving you average. I'm giving you like this is the standard, between 5 to 10. Not more than 10 lines. Not more than 10 lines. What do we write inside? Inside this problem statement, what we do? We summarize the literature review. So we say, okay, this did this, we talked about. Now we're saying, no one did this. There is a gap, so it depends what your contribution is. Are you filling a gap in the research? Are you proposing a new system? Are you trying to advance or propose a new advanced system? So you have this very important to know what is your contribution. So what happened? What the people did? They couldn't. There is a gap. I am filling this gap. There is this system, but this system can't do this and that. I am doing this and that. This is what we call. And after this, of course, after the problem statement, you can also have a section if you want, if it depends, called background. Sometimes people, they use background for literature review, but I use background for technology definition. Let's say in your paper, you're talking about SOA, you're talking about big data, you're talking about cloud computing. Okay? Maybe the readers, they need to go and do. So you can briefly introduce what the definition, your own style again, no copy and paste. So you tell them what is cloud computing. For example, if you have this in your paper, what is SOA, etc., etc. Okay? And then you start as we explained for the conference. You have the body and you have result, discussion, and conclusion. In the conclusion, of course, you can put at the end 1 line or 2 if you want for future work. This is better. After the conclusion, we usually put the acknowledgement if there is an acknowledgement. And after that, you have the referencing. Before I talk about the referencing, you have to know, guys, when you write a paper or write a manuscript or you do research, if someone help you, you should include their name. I see here in Saudi Arabia, some students, they work with a professor, and then they go secretly publish their work under their only name. This is plagiarism. If the professor knows about this and talk to the conference or the journal, you will be on blacklist. So be careful, guys. This is your name only. It doesn't add nothing. If you have your name and someone help you, like your supervisor, this should be the second. I know some professors somewhere, like they take advantage of the student and they put their name first and the student second. Don't accept this. If you did the research in master or PhD or whatever, and you have a supervisor, your name should be first. You are writing, you are working. Your supervisor second. Okay? I'm telling you. But you have to put your supervisor name or anyone else who helped you in writing the paper or doing the research, even for 2 days or 3 days, you have to put their name. If their contribution is very light or very small, put acknowledgement for them. Okay? So you have to be careful about this. Your name first. You are the main contributor. But if you add people who helped you or doing research with you, it doesn't take anything away from you, from your contribution. You have to understand that. So I think I finished this. I come back to the referencing. And the referencing, it depends on the conference or the journal. There is a style. As you know, we have Harvard style. This is very common. We have Vancouver style. And we have Chicago style, and we have numbering style, etc. So that's it. I think I covered, I don't know if I exceed the time or not. I covered everything, I think, quickly and tips. So I think I am okay, and I leave the floor for question.